Okay, I think we'll get started. If you don't have a handout, does everybody have a handout with the list there? Our main topic today, or what we'll learn about, is the best phone and tablet apps by myself, Tom Kreuzer. First, a little bio about myself. I'm the son of John Kreuzer here at 3M. John's in back there. I retired from 3M. I worked there for 40 years in their information technology area. I am an officer and presenter for the 3M Personal Computing Club. In fact, I just gave this same presentation that I'm giving today. I gave 2 hours earlier to the 3M Personal Computing Club. And I've given presentations for them for over 40 years. At its peak, the 3M Personal Computing Club, we had 1,200 members, so we had quite a few members back then. I do offer free computer help. And I mentioned here, I'm thrifty, I'm not cheap. So again, if there's free apps or there's free software, I usually lean towards that. And everyone can save a little bit of money there. Okay, I usually give these presentations once a month. The next presentation in March will be on identity theft and the dark web, and that'll be March 22nd from 2 to 3, and we'll talk about identity theft, how people get names and addresses and Social Security and information there, and we'll talk about the dark web and how this information is for sale and what people do there. And then we'll talk about a lot of different tips to protect yourself from some of these things. And some of the protection, most of your identity theft and things like that are large corporations that are broken into and your information is compromised or given away. So there's even if you're doing the most protection that you can do, you still are vulnerable. So I know what I should do, and I do protect myself, but actually my emails over the years have been involved in probably 40 different data breaches by different companies, because there's large companies and small companies where they've broken into their information and gotten names and addresses and passwords, and we'll talk about ways to protect yourself, though, because those things will happen. Also, along with my sister and brother-in-law, we put on a Fix-It Clinic here at 3M, and the next Fix-It Clinic will be in March on the 13th, Monday the 13th. So if you've got small appliances, lamps, electronics, mobile devices, or if there's we have 15-minute slots, and we'll attempt to fix anything. If it's a question about an iPhone or a tablet or anything there, we'll attempt to fix that also. And there's, I just put a sign-up sheet down on the first floor, and you can sign up for one of the slots for March 13th. Okay, also what I do is with these presentations and the handouts and that, I put this information out on the website. So if you go out to the Carondelet Village website, there's an entry in there called Tech Help. And in that Tech Help, there's a calendar. So these upcoming meetings and things like that, I will list the information there. The resources, the handouts, and the recordings from the meetings, I'll list those out there. And there's a FAQ, and you can even ask a question out there. So that's all out there. And the recordings, actually, this meeting is being recorded. The screen on here is being recorded, and my voice. So if you want to revisit any of the meetings, past meetings, or missed one, you can go out there at any time and you can watch or get the handout. Okay, let's get to best interesting phone and tablet software. First, I'll explain a little bit about this handout here. The handout is sorted by a category and then by the application. So there's a number of categories, and I didn't make up these categories. These are categories which a number of sites that have done reviews of applications have categorized things. And then this is the name of the app there. So the categories vary from cooking to weather, and the app name, I'll mention the app name here. You do have to be careful with the app name because there's millions of apps out there. A lot of the apps have similar names. Or if you just search for cooking, you'll get kind of like doing a Google search. You'll get 100,000 apps out there that have the word cooking in there. So you want to be careful with your names, and some of the names will vary a little bit whether you have an Apple device or you have an Android device. So that can be a little tricky, and I'll explain in a couple more slides some things to look for to make sure that you're getting the app that you think that you're getting. Another column, the third column out here, is cost. Most of the apps are free, or at least have a free trial version, and then some of them do have a one-time fee or a monthly fee that you pay. It just depends on the app, and I try and list the prices on this sheet also. Then there's a next column is OS. That stands for operating system. So some of the apps are written just to work on an Android device, and some of the apps are written just to run on an Apple device. Thankfully, most of them are written so that they can run on both devices. But some apps, a friend of yours may have an app, or someone may recommend an app to you, and it may not be available on, let's say, your Apple device, whereas they're using it on an Android device. Okay, the next column is called key, and these recommendations, I go to a number of different sources to get these recommendations that I have on my list. And if there's an A in this column, because this column can have anywhere from 1 to 6 letters in it. If there's an A in this column, that means it came from PC Magazine. They have a list of the 100 best Android apps, and they update that all the time, so it's kept up to date there. If it has a B in there, that means it came from PC Magazine, and they also have a list of the 100 best iPhone apps. And if it has a C, that comes from Tom's Guide. Now, my name's Tom, but this isn't my website. This is a website out on the internet that's a respected website that does reviews and recommendations. And they have a list of their top 20 iPad applications, so I included that. Then if it has a D out there, that's from the Google Play Store, and they list the top 45 downloaded Android apps. And if it has a T out there, that's one that I personally use myself. And I have an Android smartphone, but I also have an Apple iPad tablet. So it could be that I am using one of these on one or the other devices, or both of them. And then M, if there's an M out there, that was recommended by a member of the 3M Personal Computing Club, because each year I do a survey and we get input from members, and we get some suggestions for new apps that they're using. And then the last column out here is a new column, and this column is just designating those apps that are new since the last time I gave this presentation. And I gave this presentation back 3 years ago, or 3.5 years ago in 2019 there. So this just means that it's new to this list. Okay, when you're searching for what to install on your phone or tablet or that, if you have an Apple device, you're going out to the Apple App Store, and that has 2.56 million applications out there. So there's tons of them, and that's where the names can get very similar. If you have an Android device, you're going out to the Google Play Store. The Google Play Store has 2.8 million apps. And the Google Play Store, if you have a laptop or a desktop, you can also go out to the Google Play Store that way, and that's where I'll be showing a little bit in the next slide or two. The other place that you can get apps is sometimes you may get an email, or there may be a link on a website, or somebody may send you a download, and you don't want to install from those because frequently those may be scams or a virus that somebody's trying to put on your machine. So you do not want to install. You should only be installing apps from the Apple Play Store if you have an Apple, or from the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone. Okay. So this is an example of going out to the Google Play Store, and again, this is what it looks like on a laptop, this laptop. But if you, obviously on your phone, your screen is a little bit smaller, but it works exactly the same. You go in and you can put some search criteria, put in a name here. In this case, I was putting in CookPad recipes, which is one of the recommended apps here, and it comes up with results here. And when you see one that you want more detail on, you click on it. And when you click on it, you get more detail here, and we'll talk about some of this information because this is good information for any time you're downloading an app or considering putting an app on your phone or on your tablet. You want to kind of check some of these things out. So one of the things that you can check out for each of the apps is you can look at their reviewer score. So this will list the reviewer score out of 5 stars, what's it rated, and then how many people have rated this app. And so in most cases, because there's millions of apps out there, chances are you want something that scores relatively high, because why use a 1-star app if there's 4 or 5-star apps out there? So this is a quick way to kind of tell if people think that this is a good app. Another thing to look at is the number of installs, and this is the number of installs around the world that people have done, and in this case it's over 10 million installs. So if you go out and you find an app and it lists only 1,000 or 100, you don't want to install that, because that just means that hardly anyone in the world likes it. If people like an app, it's going to have potentially millions of people using it. And then this also has a button to install it. So even though I'm on a laptop or a desktop, I can install it on my different devices from my laptop. So if I was looking up this here, I could push a button, I could select install it on my Android phone, and it would install it on my Android phone. And then if you're looking for information about the app, you can sometimes see videos and images of the screen. So this will give you an idea of what the app looks like, how it functions, without installing it. So if you just want to take a quick look to see if it maybe does the things that you want it to, this is a quick way to take a look there. Then there's another section for similar. So if you do download it and you find that you don't really like it, but you do want something for cooking or recipes here, then you may want to look at the similar apps to see if there's one that might have the things that you're looking for. There's more information. If we scroll down on that page, it'll has more information, and so there's details where it'll list some of the features or functions that are out there. It'll list, this is another important thing, so kind of just like the number of installs that are out here, this is the time that it was last updated. So you want to use apps that are getting updated. If they haven't been updated in a year or 2 years, that's that should be a flag telling you that that's not a popular app. They aren't fixing bugs or problems. It's not keeping up to date with the new phones or the new tablets. So you want something that is getting updated there, and that's, again, another thing to check. Then also there's another button on here for similar items, and this will give you similar items in that category. So in this case, this cooking recipes is in the food and drink category. And this is details on the ratings. How many people rated it 5 stars, how many people rated it 4, 3, 2, 1, and then individual reviews. So in some cases, people like to look at those to see what people liked or what they didn't like about a particular app. Okay, just a couple of tips before you start installing new apps. What I tell people is go out there and delete some of your old apps that you're not using. You may have installed it a month ago or a year ago and you aren't using it and it's on your phone or tablet. Get rid of it. Delete it because it's taking up space on the phone, it's slowing down the phone, it's using part of the battery. So you get rid of ones that you aren't using. Because if at any time you do want to use that app, you can just go out to the App Store and download it or install it again, usually in a matter of minutes. Yeah, you have a the question, I'll repeat the question for the people either on the TV or on the recording. You asked how do some apps appear on there when you've never installed them? Well, whenever you get a phone or you get a tablet, it comes with pre-installed apps on there. And some of them companies will pay money to have them put on the phone. So a company like Apple makes money by putting some of these apps out there. Let's say it's a Netflix app. Well, Netflix is kind of trying to encourage you to click on it, and if you don't have a Netflix account, it'll say, let's create one and get you set up. So companies will pay. Doesn't mean that you have to keep that app. So you can delete or uninstall the ones that you aren't using. And you're right, frequently on a new phone or a tablet, or just over time, a friend might have suggested that you try an app, and 6 months or a year later, you're not using it. Well, if you're not using it, might as well get rid of it. Okay? Or wait, maybe there was there? Oh, and what I also, a little tip, is in some cases you don't have to install an app for everything, because what you can do is you can use a browser and go out to a website. So an example of that would be if you don't do a lot of things in Facebook, you just occasionally use Facebook, you don't have to install the Facebook app. You can just go out to your browser and go to Facebook and look and interact that way. And that's true of some of the number of the other apps. There's websites out there for you to get at. So, but if you do end up using a site a lot, you probably do want their app because that may have some features and functions that you don't have going through their browser or website. Okay. Format of this meeting, because we've got almost 300 apps, we're going to go fast. Hold your questions, unless it's a quick comment or that, till the end. And let's take a look at the list. So let me get over to my list. So I'm bringing up this list, and this is the same list that you have there. And this is in a spreadsheet. We'll kind of go by category here. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some of them that I use myself or find very, very useful there. So in the cooking and food, there's different ones for different companies. So if you frequent a place like McDonald's or Leon Chen's, it can be very valuable to install their app. Because if you install their app, frequently you get loyalty points or a free dinner or coupons or things like that. So if you do frequent a particular restaurant, check and see whether they have a app, and that may bring you some perks in that over time there. One of them that I like is an app called Tip and Split. This is an app. Let's go over actually to Google Play. Where am I? So here I'm in a browser now, and I'm at the Google Play, and I've searched for Tip and Split. And this shows me a number of apps out there that it's suggesting there. Well, the one that I may be interested in is this first one. And the nice thing about this, like I said, in some cases, there's a video or there's pictures. So if I click on this video,
Tip and Split is your ultimate dining companion. The app saves you the trouble of calculating the tip and splitting the bill. Tip and Split calculates the tip at the blink of an eye. All that you have to do is to enter the bill amount and the tip percentage. The app does the rest. Eating out with friends? Wondering how much it is for each? Split the bill easily with a tap on the Tip and Split app. A quick rounding off to the nearest dollar spares you the small change while still ensuring that a fair tip is given. Review the tipping guide to know more about tipping etiquette. We
won't go through it, even though it's just a minute, we won't go through all of it, but the video can be handy to show you what's available out there. Let's go back to our list here. The reason I like Tip and Split, again, it's faster than using a calculator to do things, but it also has in there tipping guides. So if you're not sure how much to tip at a restaurant, well, restaurants are different, but a housemaid, or if you're traveling overseas, is it okay to tip in Europe? It has all of the customary countries, what's allowed, what isn't allowed, and what's acceptable amounts. So it can be a nice little application. And like I say, whenever I go out to eat with friends and we're splitting, it's just a matter of seconds for me to type in and figure out what it should be there. Okay, let's go to the next category here. And the next category is creativity. And a lot of the apps in this creativity category have to do with photography, photo editing, photo organizing, things like that. And one of the most powerful ones is from Adobe. They make an app called Adobe Lightroom, and this one does cost money, costs $9.99 a month. With that $9.99, you get access to their very powerful tool, but you also have unlimited storage up on the cloud to back up your photos, to share your photos with friends and family, and if you consider yourself an amateur photographer, this is one of the best packages. If you just take a few photos every now and then, this package is kind of overkill. But if you do want to get into more photo editing and organizing, this is a great package to work with there. Another package similar is Google Photos, and that also lets you do some edits and backing up your photos. Doesn't have as elaborate edits as what the Lightroom has, but it's a free app, and you get free storage out on Google up to 15 gigabytes of space. If you need more than that, you can purchase more for $1.99 a month, but it's a nice app to back up and to share with friends and family. Another one from Google is called Google Photo Scan. The Google Photo Scan allows you to use the camera on your phone to take a picture of picture up on the wall, or somebody has a photograph that you'd like to get a digital copy of. And instead of just taking one picture, and you may have glare if there's glass over the photo or picture that you're taking it of, this has you take it from 5 different locations. It'll tell you to move around, and when you take it from the 5 different locations, it puts it all together to crop it correctly and give you the best quality photo that it can. So it's a nice little application for copying stuff. Another one in here I didn't have highlighted, but it's called Stop Motion Studio. And what you can do there is you can create stop motion videos, or kind of like a movie, kind of like Walt Disney does. You have that power of on your phone or on your tablet. You can create that, and this is especially fun if you've got grandchildren or things like that. You can take some of their toys, and you can have create a stop motion where the toys move across, and maybe they run into each other, or different things happen, and can be hours and hours of free entertainment, because you can add sounds and special effects and things like that to your movie. Okay, next category here is education. And the web has always been great for education, the amount of material that's out there. Especially nice is an app called the Khan Academy. It's a website also. But Khan Academy offers free classes and thousands of classes. So any topic that you can think of, there's classes out there for that. And a number of philanthropists have funded Khan Academy to create and update all these classes. So if you're looking for any class on just a refresher class, whether it's grade school, high school, college, any level, any topic, any area, Khan Academy has the stuff out there, and it's all free. Okay, another one out there, if you're interested in technology, if you've heard of TED, the TED conferences, they have TED Talks. They have these authorities or experts in certain categories come in and give these talks. And there's thousands of these talks out there. So if you just want to brush up on a certain subject or that, you can go out to these TED and figure. So you've heard a lot of talk in the news or that about artificial intelligence, AI, and chat GPT. If you want more information on that, go out to a TED Talk. And you'll see TED Talks on all these different subjects. So you can pick and choose the subjects, and maybe you make a playlist that this is ones I'm interested in, and when you have some free time, you sit down and listen to the different talks there. So it's kind of like having podcasts or a radio show or things like that, but you're the one controlling what the content is, and you can pick the different subjects and what you want to brush up on. Entertainment, a lot of them in the entertainment category here have to do with streaming television. So you have the various TV stations, the Netflix, the HBO, all of these different places have streaming apps. So if you subscribe to those services, it's worthwhile using that app, because then on your phone or tablet, you can watch that. Personally, myself, I use DirecTV, their streaming service. So this is the one that I use. It's not a free service. Plans start at $50 a month, but again, there's lots of advantages, and it can be cheaper than Comcast or Xfinity for what they have to offer. Podcasts are also in this category. So if you aren't listening to any podcasts, there's millions of podcasts out there, and there's topics, every topic under the sun. And I've given a presentation on podcasts before, so if you're interested in podcasts, I'd suggest going out there and getting some information there. Let's go here. Because I rarely watch anything live, I use the TV Guide. And the TV Guide has an app out there, and I can set up the channels that I want to monitor, and it'll tell me when there's new episodes or if this is a rerun or what's going on. So I use it to tell me that, and then for the episodes that I do want to watch or that, I can easily set those up and record those. And I usually record everything. I don't watch it live because I can watch our show that's on regular TV. I can watch that in about 40 minutes. So I'm skipping through the commercials and not watching the commercials. In the evening news, I like the evening news, but I always record the evening news and I'll watch it in about 10 minutes because I skip by parts that I'm not interested in, and then all the ads that are in there, I'm skipping by them. And then also out here is YouTube. YouTube is a great app and a great website. This is where, when I do the recordings of these sessions, that's where I put these sessions. I also put personal family videos out there and share it with people, because I can put an unlimited number of videos out there and share it with an unlimited number of people. So it's a real nice little deal. Okay, getting into the finance area here. The finance area, almost every bank or financial institution has an app out there. And I highly recommend that if you are banking with a Wells Fargo or a US Bank or a Huntington or whatever, you get their app, because those apps are more secure than going in through a browser and accessing your bank accounts. They also usually offer more features and functions than what you see going in through a website. As an example, most of them will let you take a picture of a check and deposit it. And it uses the camera on your phone, and so it means that you don't have to mail it in or take it into the bank. You can do it all from at home just using your phone there. Another one that I use, Square Register. This allows me, I usually have a garage sale every year, and some people don't bring enough cash when they go to garage sales, so I make it easy for them. I can take their credit card, and this is a service that I can offer the people at my garage sale there, and it does cost for every charge. It's like 2.8% fee for using a credit card there, but it also means that I end up selling more things because people don't have to be just limited by the cash that they have on hand. Okay, next category is health and fitness. There's a ton of health and fitness. Some of it are tied to different watches or devices. Last month we talked about smartwatches. There's a number of apps that work with the different smartwatches and that. So Fitbit has different deals. Also, there's ones if you do walking. I'm retired now and I do walking and I try and get in my 10,000 steps. Well, this will monitor how many steps I have, the route I took, the elevation I went up and down, and it all does that with the phone. It doesn't require a separate device other than you have the phone on you. It also maps your walk, and it can compare one walk that you did last week to the walk that you did this week? Are you going faster? Are you going slower? What's going on there? Sure. Or excuse me? Oh, the one that is Map My Run. And actually the Map My Run, you'll see a number of apps out there. Map My Run, Map My Walk, Map My Bike, Map My Swim. They're all the same app because when you load one of those, you can use it for any of them. So even if you do an exercise bicycle like downstairs or that, you can turn it on for that. It can't measure everything, but it will get things like time and duration and keep track of that. Okay. Another one I mentioned here, let's see, where am I here? The eye health. The last blood pressure device that I bought is a smart device. So any of the settings, any of the readings that I take, it can upload them to my phone. And then when I go and see the doctor, I can show the doctor these are readings that I took and that. And the reason I mention that is a lot of, if you're buying new devices, a lot of them are what are called smart devices. So most of the scales to do your weight are now smart scales. And they'll take and register the weight and that on your phone on that date, and then you can track the deal there. And that capability of the smart capability typically now is maybe adding $5 or so to a dumb scale. So a dumb scale may cost $20 and the smart scale costs $25. So the cost of these devices with these built-in connections to monitor and to give you some information that you can share with your doctor or just use for yourself to kind of plot your progress or what's going on. So it's really nice and handy to have some of this stuff. Another one that you've probably heard of is WebMD. That's the site and has the most amount of information. So it can help you do a diagnosis. So you can be kind of your own doctor. I don't recommend being your own surgeon, but if you do have certain symptoms or want to check things out, you can check out WebMD. And then if there are any questions or things like that, certainly bring that up with your doctor and show them these articles or these suggestions that you found on WebMD. But it's great for getting good information there. There's also ones out there for the Mayo Clinic. I don't list it here, but WebMD is a little more popular than the Mayo, but if you're a Mayo fan, you can use their app. News, lots of different ones for newspapers and things like that. If you have a library card, frequently you can check out different things and virtual books on your tablets and things like that. So that can be handy. Also, I mentioned here the Pioneer Press. Myself, I just get the Sunday paper. And the last time I renewed it, I believe I paid $65 for the year just for the Sunday paper. But with that $65, I get unlimited access to all of the newspapers. So when I load this Pioneer Press app on my tablet, I can go in any day, bring up today's paper or yesterday's paper, and I can go through the paper there on my tablet. And so that's kind of a nice deal. That's because I have the $65 for the Sunday. They do sell, the paper has all kinds of deals. If you get the Monday through Friday, you can get digital only. I'm not sure how much the digital only, but the combination of what I have just with the Sunday paper gives me access there. Okay. Then we get into productivity, and in the productivity, there's lots of apps in here to help you do like word processing and spreadsheets and things like that. But one of them I find handy is an app from Adobe called Adobe Scan. It lets you create a PDF file. So if you've ever seen something in a paper or in a magazine that you wanted to share with a friend, you can use your camera on your phone and take a picture of this page, turn it over, take another picture of the next page, take another picture of the next page, and put it all in a PDF file, and then it puts it up on a server that you can then share. You can send a link to a friend in an email or as a text message, and you can share things that way. So it makes it very easy to scan these things, and which is different than scanning a picture. Before we talked about pictures, well, this is a different category. This is a document from a magazine or from a newspaper or from an article somewhere. Another package or app that I like in this category is OneNote. OneNote, we had a session earlier this year, well, not earlier this year, just last year, on OneNote, and it's a great tool. It's not a word processor, it's not a spreadsheet. It's think of it as a notebook, just like you may have had a notebook in the past and jotted down notes and added clippings from here and there. That's what OneNote is, and it allows you to organize things and keep track of a lot of different things in electronically. And once you keep track of it electronically, then it's available on your phone, on a tablet, on a laptop, any devices that you have there. Okay, let me check and see where we are. Okay, there. Searching, if you have Amazon devices, there's an Amazon Alexa app that you use, and that Amazon Alexa app is kind of nice because it lets you add new devices or change things or set up routines to turn things on and off if you have switches. So very powerful app there. Another one that I use when the Minnesota State Fair comes around is there's an app from the Minnesota State Fair that shows you where the new food is, how to get to a certain booth or where food is, or where somebody, if you're looking for somebody selling a particular item out there, it'll let you do searches and maps out there. And part of the reason I bring up this app, this is a fine example of an app that I will load it just before I go to the state fair. And I usually go to the state fair 2 days during the run of the state fair. So I keep it on there for those 2 days that I'm doing stuff. Then I uninstall the app, because the other 11 months out of the year, 11 months and 2 weeks, I don't need that app on my phone. I don't need it to take up space on the phone, drain the battery on the phone, potentially get updates, slows down your phone, and things like that. So there's an example of an app that I only load it for those 2 days that I need to use it, and then I take it off. So you don't have to always keep every app that you have. Just make sure you have it when you need it. If you're traveling abroad or going somewhere, you may load a couple of different apps that you're going to use, and when you get done traveling, you get rid of those apps. Okay. An app in the security area that I highly recommend is a password manager, and the password manager is Bitwarden. Bitwarden is an app that is free, and Bitwarden will work on laptops, desktops, phones, all different types of phones, all different types of tablets, and so it can save you save your passwords so that you aren't writing them down or have them in a book or forget them or things like that. So lots of nice things you can do with that. Shopping is similar to when we were talking about the food. If there's particular stores that you go to, most of the stores do have their own app, and they will have loyalty deals. So if you buy so much, you're getting points or free coupons or things like that. So make sure you take advantage of those. And an example that I use is Walgreens. Walgreens will send me almost once a month. I get stuff for a free 8x10 photo or a 5x7 or making 6 or 7 greeting cards or things like that. So they send different promotional items there, and I usually take advantage of that, and that's all for free. Also, one of the apps, I use the State Farm app. So State Farm and a number of the insurance companies now have it, where there's a device that you put in your car, and then that talks to your phone, and it keeps track of all your driving. So when I drive, it knows when I accelerate, when I brake, how I make right turns, how I make left turns, and it grades you. So it'll say, gee, for these last months, your grade for right turns is a B, and I was getting A's in all the other turns and the braking and stuff like that, and so it what I did is I wanted to get my score up to an A, so then I slowed down when I was making right turns. So I was making right turns pretty fast and making it kind of a wide arc. Well, ideally, it'll tell you the best right turns, slow down, and make a 90-degree angle there on your turn. So then when I did that, then I got my score down to an A. The higher your score, the lower you pay in your insurance. And I ended up, I believe, cutting my insurance bill by almost 75%. And that was a combination of I don't drive that many miles, but also it keeps track of the time of day that you drive, how the speed that you drive, and then the ratings on how you are in braking, accelerating, right and left turns. And a number of people I know say to me, well, I don't want anyone knowing how I do that. And I said, I don't care if they know how I do it, as long as it's going to save me money. You know, so.
Did you say Matt Smitty?
This is Drive Safe and Save from State Farm. So if you have State Farm, you can talk to your insurance agent, and he can get you more information on that. If you have another insurance agent, so you're not using State Farm, a number of the other insurance companies also have similar programs and apps where if you do that, and so yes, they will know when you're driving, how far you're driving, and they will grade you on all these different things. But hey, if I can save money, I'm more for saving money there. Okay. Social, there's ones for Facebook or whatever you're doing there. If you're using Zoom, there's ones to help you do that, and certainly those are worthwhile. Utilities, I mentioned in here, if you have a printer in your apartment or that, usually what you'll want to do is you'll want to connect to that printer and be able to print from your phone. Well, in order to do that, you usually have to install an app on your phone. So in my case, I have a Canon printer at home. There's an app from Canon that you install, and then if I'm reading an email on my phone and I want to print it off, I can send it directly to the printer and print it off. So it's just kind of a nice little deal there. Okay, let's go here. I mentioned here the Wise camera. Wise cameras are cameras that I use it for security around my house, but I also use it to monitor my dad. So I get notifications when he wakes up in the morning and when he's moving around and when people come into the apartment and things like that. So it's kind of a nice little deal there. This is Wise, W-Y-Z-E. It's a camera, and Wise is a company, and they make about 20 different smart devices. So they make a smart scale, and they make security deals. What else do they have? Lighting for outside. So they have a variety of different devices in there. I mainly use the cameras in that to keep track of things. What's that? I mainly use the cameras. They actually started out with cameras as their first product, and this goes back 3 years ago or 4 years ago. And at the time, you probably heard of Ring cameras. The Ring cameras at that time were selling for like $200 or that. This company is known to disrupt the market, to upset the market with the low-cost leader. And so they came out with a camera for $19.99. And that's why they still control a lot of the market because, and they're also sold in a number of stores, I believe. What is it? I think they just went into Costco. They're in Menards, I think, and a few other places there also. Okay, that's the end of the list. I went very fast through this, but the intent is now you have a list, and if there's a particular thing that you're interested in, you can look at this list, and if you don't find anything on this list, go out to the Google Play or the Apple Play or the Apple Store and do your search, check the reviews, see if it's who's using it, how many people are using it. And because there's millions of these things out here, there's apps to do everything under the sun. And when I say everything under the sun, I also mean at night. There's ones for stargazing that if you want to find a constellation, you can do this, and then it'll tell you exactly where to point it and where to look to see. So any kind of hobby that you have, any kind of interest that you have, with 2.5 million apps out there, there's stuff to do everything under the sun. Yeah, question?
Do all apps work with both the phone and the tablet, or is there some that work for just one or the other?
No, good question. So an app, when a person or a company develops an app, they usually start out with one device. So let's say I want to create something. I may just start out making it just for the Apple iPhone because the screen on the iPhone is so big, the way that you interact with it is one way, and things like that. If it becomes popular, then you want it available on other tablets, Android phones, other size devices, even in Windows 11 and things like that. Windows 11 now can run a number of apps. If you're not familiar with that, that was one of the features that was added to Windows 11 is the ability to run apps. Now, not all apps run in Windows 11 because you've got a much bigger screen here. And so to accommodate both a small screen and a large screen, somebody has to write a program and figure out how to optimize. And what you're doing on an app on a phone is different than the way that you might interact on a laptop where you may have a mouse or a touchpad or a touch screen. Well, that's a little different than the phone or a tablet. So the simple answer is not everything is available on all the different platforms, But if it's a good app that's popular, you're going to start seeing it available on all these different platforms because there's usually these apps where they're free and stuff like that may have a little ad that pops up. Well, we're all kind of annoyed by that app, but that's what pays the money for the developer or the company to continue to make improvements and do the app. So that's a good thing that they're making money as long as it's not bothering you too much there. It can be a win-win. We get a free app, they get some money and stuff like that. So the better ones will eventually get on all the different platforms, and but right out of the gate, some of the new ones only work on certain devices and things like that.
So when you look at the App Store and look at the description, it will tell you what devices it works on?
Yes, yes. So when I went out to the Google Play as an example for Android, if I click that install, it'll only tell me the devices that I have that it can run on. And that's also true of Apple. If you have an iPhone and an iPad, if you go out to the Apple Store and do a search, you're going to get different results when you're on your iPhone than what you get on your iPad. Because if you're on your iPad, it's not going to show you the apps that can't work on the iPad. It's only going to show you apps that do work on the iPad, which makes sense, but it can be a little frustrating because you go, but I know I have this on my iPhone, but it's not available on the iPad. So you either have to look for another app that does a similar function. So let's say you're listening to podcasts. Well, if you want to listen to podcasts on both those, you might want to find an app that is on both those. So, but if you only listen on one of the devices, then it's, for some people it's important to have it available on multiple devices, and for other people it's not a problem. As long as it's on their main device that they're using, that's all they need. Yes.
You would only use an app occasionally, for instance, like checking flight status. Would it be better to just go to the website rather than download the app to your phone so it doesn't take up space that you're not using?
Yeah, the question was, is it better to download an app or to go to the website if you only use it occasionally? And a couple of things there. I would first try and do it from the website and see what features and functions it has there. If that's adequate for what you want to do, and that's great. If it isn't, if there's a particular function that you want, let's say you want a function of, I've identified a flight, and I've got my daughter is coming in on a flight from Boston tomorrow. I want to get notified when it touches down. Well, I can do that on some apps. I can't do it on the website. But if all you're doing is going out to the website and putting in a flight number and saying, is it on schedule or is it running behind or did it leave Boston? That's a pretty simple thing that you can do on the website or you can do anywhere. But some of the more advanced things you can only do in some of these apps.
If you just want flight times, you don't have to do any of that in the search bar with Delta 327. It just gives you what it is for right now. That's what I do, but if you want to do it simpler to do it this other way.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're looking for there, but again, if you don't have to download an app, that can save you, but the app may have some functions there that you might find valuable. So you could at least look at it. Again, you can look at it and you can say, I don't see any functions that I'm using. It's the website is just as useful. Then uninstall it. So that's the beauty of this. Since most of it's
Bookmark, websites rather than downloading an app.
Yeah. So if you go out to websites, certainly you can bookmark. There's ways to put icons on your desktop, even if it's something that you go out to all the time. So yes, there are ways of making it faster. You don't have to go out and search each time and go out there 1 click or 2 clicks. You can be right there. Yeah.
Most of the time, if not all of the time, apps cannot, you cannot enlarge the font by moving your finger on the screen. And so, is there any way to enlarge the font on an app? Unless I go to the search engine, like for example, Facebook is a good example. Facebook, you can enlarge the font, but you can't do it when you're in the app.
Yeah, what that gets into, the question was, is there any way to enlarge the fonts on some of the apps that don't let you in that? And the phones have tried to help with that. If you've ever gone into the settings for either an Android or an iPhone or that, there are settings for what's called accessibility. And those settings for accessibility let you increase the font size for everything. Now that's, since it's in the settings, it applies to everything there. Now not every app uses those settings, but most of the apps would then be a bigger size. Now what you may find is, okay, the text is bigger, but there's only so much space on the screen, so now I have to keep scrolling back and forth. So that can be an issue there. You just have to kind of try it and see what works there. And that's why they've come out with larger phones now, or larger screens on the phones. And you may have seen even some of the phones, they're getting to the point where they make a foldable phone, where the screen folds. So the idea there is, it's nice to have a big screen for seeing things and not having to scroll and things like that. So they're trying to do things there. Long term, which I may not be around and you may not be around, but what they're doing is future generations of this, you're going to get rid of the screens totally. And you may have seen of like Google Glass, it shoots a little projection out in front of you. So you may have seen in some movies where people are going, they're grabbing things out here and they're moving things out here because there is no screen per se on the phone. The screen is just out in front of you. And then you can make the screen as large as you want, and then you can use the hands. And so that's one of the limitations, obviously, today is the screen size. And if you're trying to type or put in input, that's really a problem. But the typing, they've got good solutions now. You can use speech. So you don't have to type a lot of things. You can just talk into it, and it'll translate your speech into text. So there's some things that you can do. Yes? Yes and no. There's a couple of things. Amazon, if you have an Amazon Prime membership, you get access to more movies and more TV shows. Amazon also has free stuff. So if you just have a regular Amazon account, you can put in the Amazon streaming and you can watch. An example there is, I believe, Judge Judy. If you like Judge Judy Scheinlin, who used to be on regular TV, now her new shows are only available on streaming, and you'd have to have Amazon Prime Video. But you don't have to pay. If you can get a free Amazon account, you can watch Judge Judy on there for free. So there's a lot of shows and a lot of different things that are free, but then for some of the other content, the more current movies, the more current TV shows or things like that, that's where having an Amazon Prime account or a Netflix account or things like that, that makes sense. Okay? Yeah, the question was how can you tell what has ads? And they're really, part of that depends on the level of service that you have. So some of the levels of service, as an example, HBO has a lower level where you get ads. There will be ads before and after and things like that. So the way they sell the service is it's $6.95 a month if you get ads, or it's $12.95 or something a month if you don't want the ads. So some of the levels will do that. YouTube streaming TV is that way. You can get ads, or you can pay not to have ads. Now some of the free TV services that are out there, so for every one of these paid services, there are literally thousands of apps, both for your TV and your smartphone, to watch old movies, old TV shows, things like that. Most of those will have ads because that's the way they pay for themselves. So just like TV has ads, you have the ads there, and there isn't a way to skip past the ad. Usually it's not movie specific. It's the level of package that you have, whether they have ads or don't have ads. And the nice thing about a lot of these streaming services is some of them will let you have a 10-day trial or a 30-day trial, so you can try it out and you can see how it works there. Frequently during that 30-day trial, they may show you the version without ads, and then you go, well, I only want to pay $5.95 a month. Well, now you're going to start seeing ads in there, so it just varies, unfortunately. Yeah. Any other question? Okay. Well, thanks for coming there, and thank you.
Could I please have one of your head notes?
Sure.
I'll tell you something humorous.
What's that?
I'll tell you something humorous.
Yep.
I was the number 2 guy that controlled the